Welcome back, students. This is the last topic in the Unit 3, boundary conditions of electromagnetic fields. Okay, now we are going to discuss by splitting the electromagnetic fields separately as electric fields and magnetic fields. Boundary conditions on electric fields. This is the concept. So far, we considered the electric field in a homogeneous medium. That means in a single medium. Okay, now let us assume that if the electric field exists in a region consisting of two different media, now the conditions that the field must satisfy at the interface separating the media are called boundary conditions. This is the definitions. Okay, the conditions that the field must satisfy at the interface separating the media are called boundary conditions. Are you clear? Let us consider there is a boundary. Okay, now what are the conditions we are going to satisfy to interface the two different mediums? Those conditions we are going to call it as boundary conditions. Now coming to the application and use of it, these conditions are helpful in determining the field on one side of the boundary or interface if the field on the other side is known. That means if we know the electric field in one side of the boundary, we can easily determine the other boundary electric field. Now there are three types of interfaces we have: dielectric to dielectric, conductor to dielectric, conductor to free space. Now to determine the boundary conditions, we are going to use the two Maxwell's equations, okay, on electric fields. The first Maxwell's equation is closed line integral of E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0, and the second Maxwell's equation is closed surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to charge enclosed. And one more point, this is the first step while determining the boundary conditions, and the second step is you have to split your electric field. You have to split your electric field into two components. One is tangential component, another one is normal component. You have to split into two components. Now we will go back to the first interface, that is a dielectric to dielectric interface, dielectric to dielectric boundary condition. Now let us consider this represents the boundary, and let us consider this is region 1, this is region 2. Now this electric field is transforming from region 1 to region 2, and it is splitted into two parts. One is a normal part, another one is a tangential part. This is the tangential part, this one is the normal part. Since it is region 1, it is the normal component of region 1, tangential component of region 1, normal component of region 2, and tangential component of region 2. It is a dielectric of region 1, it is a dielectric of region 2. Okay, now let us consider, I have considered the rectangular coil as a closed path. Okay, see, observe here, this is exactly lying, okay, half in the second region and half in the first region. Let us assume that the length is del w and the height or the breadth is del h. If you observe del h, it is lying half in the region 2 and lying half in the region 1. Now let us come back. Apply the closed line integral E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0, the first Maxwell's equation. Now this closed path, observe this closed path is splitted into A to B, B to C, C to D, and D to A to B. If you observe A to B, what is the direction it is? It is a tangential direction. Okay, if you observe B to C, it is what is the direction? Normal direction. Since it is lying half in the region 1 and half in the region 2, therefore we can split this into two parts. And C to D, if you observe that it is also tangential direction, but it is moving in the opposite direction of the, okay, moving opposite direction. See here like this. Is it clear? Then coming back to the D to A, once again it is splitted into two parts. Half is in the region 2, half is in the region 1. It is normal component, but it is going, okay, opposite direction to the normal component. See, the normal components are upwards, it is going downwards. Therefore, this closed path is splitted into A to B, B to C, C to D and D to A times E bar dot DL bar is equal to 0. I am going to consider the magnitude part since theta is equal to 0 everywhere. Therefore, dot product is nothing but E dl cos theta, cos 0 becomes 1. Therefore, I am going to consider the magnitude of that. In A to B, if you observe that A to B, it is the tangential component of region 1. What is the dl? Del W. Therefore, E1t del W plus, if you observe B to C, it is divided into two parts. The first half is in the region 1 normal component, therefore E1n del H by 2. The second part is in the second region, therefore E2n del H by 2. Therefore B to C can be written as E1n del H by 2 plus E2n del H by 2. Then if you observe that C to D, it is going in the opposite direction of second tangential component, this opposite direction of second tangential component, since it is region 2. Therefore, we can write minus E2t del W. Minus E2t del W. Now, if you observe D to A, it is also in the normal component direction, but it is opposite direction. Therefore, you can able to write minus E2n del H by 2 minus E1n del H by 2. Yeah, minus E2n del H by 2 minus E1n del H by 2 is equal to 0. This term gets cancelled, this term gets cancelled. Then finally you have this term. If you take del W as a common term, then send this del W to that side, then you can say that the tangential components of electric field intensity, okay, is said to be continuous across the boundary. That means the tangential components are continuous. They do not depend on any medium. Are you clear? Now, since d bar is equal to epsilon times electric field in vector form, this is in the scalar form or magnitude form, then we can write that E1t is equal to D1t upon epsilon 1 and D2t by epsilon 2 is equal to E2t. Therefore, from this expression we can write that D1t upon epsilon 1 is equal to D2t upon epsilon 2. That means tangential components of d bar is said to be discontinuous across the boundary. It is depending on the dielectric medium. Are you clear? Okay, now second Maxwell's equation. I am going to apply the second Maxwell's equation. This is since the second Maxwell's equation is closed surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to charge enclosed. Therefore, I have to consider a Gaussian surface, that is closed surface. See here, cylindrical surface I have considered. Then once again this d bar is moving from region 1 to region 2 and is splitted into tangential and normal components. This is a cylinder I have considered. This is the top that is moving in the D2n direction. This is bottom, it is moving in the opposite direction of D1. Okay, the cylinder height is del H. What is the area present in cylinder is nothing but del S. What is the charge enclosed? This means surface charge density. Rho S is the surface charge density. If you observe that the closed surface can be splitted into top, bottom and the side one. Since if you observe the side one, due to symmetry, the side ones are going to be cancelled. Are you clear? Now see, the closed surface is divided into top, bottom and side. D bar dot ds bar is equal to charge enclosed. Due to symmetry, the side one is going to be cancelled. Then charge enclosed can be written as rho s times del s. Is it clear? Since it is a surface charge density which is equal to charge per unit area, then total charge enclosed is equal to surface charge density times unit area. Then top, if you observe the top one, once again I am going to consider the magnitude. Top one of the cylindrical, it is going in the direction of D2n, and what is the area is del S. D2n del S minus, if you observe the bottom one, it is going downward, negative direction of D1n. Are you clear? Therefore it is D1n into del S, which is equal to rho S times del S. Now if you consider del S as a common term, D2n minus D1n times del S is equal to rho S del S. Del S gets cancelled. Then D2n minus D1n is equal to rho S. That means equation 3 describes the normal components are discontinuous, that depends on the surface charge density. Then this equation 3 is, remember, very important, from region 1 to region 2, that is it is directed from region 1 to region 2. If it is directed from region 2 to region 1, then it will be written as d1n minus d2n is equal to rho s. Now we are going to see some special cases. That let us consider case 1. If no free charge at the interface, that means if there is a charge free region, rho s is equal to 0, let us assume that, then this equation becomes what? 0. This rho s becomes 0, then these two are equal in both the things. Is it clear? Then we can say that the normal components of d bar is continuous across the interface. Remember, that is, it satisfies only at rho s is equal to 0 condition. Now if you observe that since d bar is equal to epsilon times electric field intensity, you can substitute this, then we can say that normal components of E bar is discontinuous at the boundary, okay, or interface. That is case 2. Okay, now we will see the special case, that is law of refraction. Okay, that is law of refraction. Let us consider this is the boundary, this is the boundary, this is region 1, region 2, epsilon 1, epsilon 2, then it may be a D or E, it is moving like this. Law of refraction, this is refracting. Is it clear? Now see, the boundary conditions can be used to determine the refraction of the electric field across the interface. Let us recall the boundary conditions. The tangential components are equal and the normal components of electric flux density are equal at rho s is equal to 0 condition. Since it is the tangential component, we can write it as a sine theta. Are you clear? Since it is a tangential, sine theta we are going to write. Since it is a normal component, we can able to write cos theta. Then d can be splitted into like this. Then I am going to consider by dividing equation 6 by equation 7. Then even gets cancelled. Then this becomes what? Tan theta 1 divided by epsilon 1 is equal to, then it becomes tan theta 2 by epsilon 2. Are you clear? Now you can able to write that tan theta 1 upon tan theta 2 is equal to epsilon 1 by epsilon 2. Then epsilon 1 is splitted into epsilon naught epsilon r1 by epsilon naught epsilon naught. Epsilon naught get cancelled. Then finally you can say that tan theta 1 by tan theta 2 is equal to epsilon r1 by epsilon naught. Equation 8 is the law of refraction of the electric field at the boundary free of charge. This is the law of refraction. Now we will see the second one. Conductor to dielectric boundary condition. Okay, the shaded one I have represent for since it is a medium, you may confuse, that's why I have represent. Let us consider this is a perfect conductor. That means conductivity rise to infinity, then rho l is equal to 0. Then in a conductor we know that electric field intensity is equal to 0. Examples are that copper and silver. Then dielectric, epsilon is equal to epsilon naught times epsilon r. Then this electric field is going to be split into two parts as usual. Then once again I have considered the closed path. Okay, now by applying closed path, applying first Maxwell's equation, closed line integral E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0. Once again it is splitted into AB, BC, CD and DA. AB, there is no electric field, therefore 0 into del W plus, okay, BC, if you consider, once again it is divided into two parts. In this part it is 0, that's why 0 into del H by 2. In this part it has something plus, what is that? Normal direction of this, okay, En del H by 2 minus, if you observe C to D, it is going opposite direction of the tangential component, Et del W minus D to A. If you observe that here it has minus En del H by 2, here it has 0, therefore minus 0 del H by 2, which is equal to 0. Once again these two gets cancelled. Then finally we have Et is equal to 0. Since Et is equal to 0, dt is also equal to 0. Okay, that means tangential components are equal to 0 in conductor to dielectric. Now I am going to consider the second Maxwell's equation. Observe this. Once again I am going to consider the cylindrical surface, conductor, and this is a dielectric. Then